Hey guys, it's John Kovach with Amplified Minds. Hey, I wanted to just jump in here and give you a great old morning talk. Last night we talked about podcasting, and I got a few people reaching out about podcasts, how to make them, what equipment to use, and how to monetize them, how to make some money off of the stuff that you're recording. I wanted to just follow up on that, and if anyone has any questions or concerns or thoughts or just needs a little coaching on that, please hit me up. I'm very, very willing to help you grow a podcast just because it's a recent skill of mine and I'm really excited. Adele, it's so great to hear from you. I love that you're watching this. Appreciate you, and I hope you get something from this. Look, the topic of this discussion this morning is very simple. A year ago, I wrote in my little journal a thought, and the thought was kind of profound to me, and I was reviewing this thought, and I thought, why don't we talk about it a minute? I'm pretty curious because at this point in time in my life, I was struggling financially. I was thinking about the habits in my life that I was going to change and the things that I was going to be doing. I'm a much different person than I was a year ago, so this is really kind of interesting. But the thought that I wrote in my journal, and by the way, if you don't have a journal, I highly recommend it. The first thing I do in the morning when I wake up is I do my morning ritual, not routine, but my ritual, which is typically meditation, prayer, drinking water, and if I can, get to do some stretching or going to the gym and doing some exercising as well. Not as much as I'd like to, but it's ritual based, which means as long as I do parts of the ritual, I fulfill my day and I have an easy win. But one of the things I do in that schedule is I take a thought. I sit down and I just clear my mind and I write something. The first thing that comes to my mind, because my mind is fresh, and sometimes you can gain a lot from just waking up and having thoughts. Your brain is constantly running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Sometimes your brain, when you wake up, your brain thinks of all the things that you didn't do yesterday and you begin to stress yourself out. But one of the great things that you can do is focusing on what you are thinking about. What profound thoughts come to your mind? So in my journal, I wrote, oh, by the way, if you couldn't see on the film here, my journal says open to new ideas. I got this at just a networking meeting in Washington, D.C. In 2015, 2014, 2015. This was given to me, and I thought this is a really cool thing. So, all right, enough tangents. I want to read the thought to you. I said, be more tactful in your approach for change. Looming evidence of your previous habits can influence ability to change. Now, I'm interested to why I wrote this. I woke up, I'm struggling financially. I've got a lot of things going on in my life. I got things that I am worried about, stressed about, but I was also focused on how I was going to change my life around. I was focused on what I was going to do to influence change in my life. I wanted to make a difference. And as I'm reading this through, I'm trying to dissect it a little bit. Be more tactful in your approach for change. I think what that means is, don't, people say, quit habits cold turkey, do certain things. I can mind over matter, I can do things that will change. And if I just wanted to do something, I could do it. People believe in just being able to do it. And you know what? In some cases, Nike's right, just do it. There are some things where I'm just like, if I just take action on this, I can do anything. I can really do things in small bits. I can take action on other things. I really can do anything that if I put my mind to it. Now, I believe in that wholeheartedly, but be tactful in your change is what I wrote. So I wanted to think about that a little bit deeper. Be tactful in your change. I think it's so important to have people around you. Now, this is why I'm an accountability coach. That's exactly why we preach accountability here at Amplified Minds, because tact means plan. Plan means preparation, and preparation means that you're heading down a path. A lot of people and a lot of our mentors have actually talked to us about how stressful goal setting can be. I agree. Goal setting is very difficult. It's something that's overwhelming. For me, it's actually inspiring. I'm like, oh, I just set a goal, because I immediately turn to the action part, the doing part. But for some people, they feel the angst and the stress behind the action and processes of the goal. So yeah, this is very, very interesting that I wrote this a year ago. Be tactful in your process for change. But then the second part reads, looming evidence of your previous habits can influence your ability to change. Looming evidence of your previous habits can influence your ability to change. Think about that for a minute. Looming evidence of your previous habits can influence your ability to change. Now, I believe that we all have ingrained in our brain a process, a way to do things. And if you're not disrupting that process continuously by trying things that scare you, doing things that you're not quite apt to do, finding things in your life that are going to make you uncomfortable, I'll be a little vulnerable with you. I'm at a point in my life where I'm trying to read about a book or more a week. And of the books that I read, I try to learn as much as I can. But growing up, I hated reading. In fact, the reading that I would do was on AOL Instant Messenger. That's actually where I also learned how to type. Just chatting with people because I loved relationships. I loved communicating. But reading was so difficult for me. And you know why? I'll be completely honest with you. My comprehension was low, but mostly it's my fault. I just didn't like to read, and if I could avoid it, I would. I was one of the type of kids who would rather be outside playing than sitting inside reading. But what I needed to do was I needed to improve my life by reading more text. I actually was listening to a Les Brown talk. And in his talk, he was saying that if you read 20 books in the same subject, you can then call yourself an expert. Now, there's a lot of context that I just missed on that, but I'm just quoting out of context. Okay, so don't take that verbatim. Don't say, oh, that's what Les Brown said. There's a lot more to it. But the principle basically was, if you want to be an expert in something, read 20 books about it, and then make sure you take the actions necessary to become the expert, to become the thought leader in that space. I've been reading a lot about business development, goal achievement, high success, and accountability. Those who are successful. I read a lot of books about millionaires. Excuse me. And how they get to where they had to, or get what they had to do to get there. Some pretty cool stuff. So I think that's pretty profound. Some of the habits that we have recently added and endured have been reading books. Here's one that I'm reading right now, gifted to me by Amplified Minds. Here's one I'm just finishing up, and this one was given to me by a great friend. I picked this up at a conference last week. Excited to read it. I know a little bit about Bill McDermott, so I'm going to read that as well. And then I will be completely honest, I have no idea who this person is, and I'm excited to read it. But these are kind of my books on display and the books that I'm having to read because I'm surrounding myself with more books instead of media. I'm trying to spend more time engaging with those who I want to talk with and talking with them about the things that I've learned. I think it's super fun and super cool. So back to the story. A year ago, I wrote that line, be tactful in your process for change. But, looming evidence of your previous habits can influence your ability to change. I think that if you're not willing to change, you're going to stick to what you've done before. A great quote is, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. And if you don't read books, then you're not going to have that intellect. If you don't hit the gym, you're not going to get in shape, or at least be healthy. If you don't find space in your life for change and look for opportunities to be different, you will stay in the same state and you will get the same results. I think it was Einstein who said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again but expecting different results. Now, that might hit home for a lot of people, but I really want you all to know that this is very fascinating. Develop a habit of change, develop a habit of creating stuff. And there's some things that should be constant in your life, like your morning rituals, which you should actually, commit to, create, and then change up, every so often. Not so often that it's completely disruptive to you, but disruptive enough so that you can, improve, enhance, and so forth. Those are some of my thoughts. Okay, so after all of this discussion, what did we learn? I just really wanted to talk about how change is evidence of your ability to create new things in your life, to take action, to achieve goals. So there's some important facts for you. What is also cool is I wrote a second line last year. And in that line, I wrote, pick peaceful noises to wake up to. So this was the beginning of my change. I decided I had been listening to an alarm that goes, and instead of listening to that alarm, I was like, I wonder if I could wake up in a better state, a more peaceful state that would keep me going, that would get me more excited for the day. And as I did that, I began my change, which was developing rituals or writing my book, achieving more goals during the morning, uh, time management. A lot of it had to do with me writing and reading and practicing some of my speeches. A lot of it had to do with me picking up a book, though I know how slow of a reader I am and how low my comprehension has been. I knew that if I just picked up a book and practiced and tried, I could be where I wanted to be. I'd be in a better state. So pretty cool stuff. I hope this helps. I hope this is something that is interesting to you. Please shout out, throw me a message, drop a comment if this is something that you like. If anything, just know that I'm just sharing some of my thoughts, and really this helps me to talk it out, because knowing what I wrote a year ago is fascinating. But I know that as I write things down, I am surprised at what I wrote. And I was just talking to a friend, and actually we were skiing this past weekend on the lift, and I said to him, you'd be surprised to know what you actually know. And I was surprised that I said that, but I said, you'd be surprised to know what you actually know. Your brain actually does comprehend more than you can imagine. Your brain has so much power that you don't even know, and it's untapped. There's so many profound thoughts, feelings, emotions, and processes just rolling around in your brain because you pick things up and you didn't know you could. You're smarter than you think. There's more to you than meets the eye. There's greatness in you. Quoting my good friend Les Brown. This is it, everybody. Have a great day.